Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Patrice, and in this video we will be discussing things I've read. And now let's get started. So there are 3 books in this video. The first book is a cozy mystery by Celeste Connally, and the title is Revenge Served Royal. And this is the 3rd book in the Lady Petra mystery series. So the quick overview of this story is that Lady Petra is at Windsor Castle, and the Queen and her husband are celebrating their anniversary, and they're having all sorts of activities and events at the castle for the high crust people to take part in, and also like the common folk, like the subjects. So Lady Petra is part of a baking contest. She is one of the judges, and they have like I think like 10 contestants from the aristocrats. I think like cooks. So the aristocrats' cooks are coming to participate in the baking contest. And Petra, like I said, is going to be a judge. So also in attendance is Petra's former chef, who is now like a famous cookbook author. And he also used to be the royal chef for the king and queen. So he is there and he's going to present some recipes to the queen. But before he can do that, he ends up dead. And the person standing over his body is his own valet. And that's like the guy who dresses him and takes care of him and stuff. And, they arrest him. But then the valet says, well, wait a minute. I didn't do this. And, this former chef or whatever, his name is oh boy, what is his name? Rufus. His name is Sir Rufus Pomeroy, and he says, well, wait a minute, Sir Rufus was arguing with like a bunch of people this weekend, and he said that he hid some sort of scandalous document here in the castle. So, one of those people is the one who bumped him off. So now Petra, she has to figure out like who killed Sir Rufus and where is this document if it exists. So again, some of my favorite characters. The last book was full of action, and this one is not as action packed as the last one, but this is still a series that I love. And also, the mystery was like a classic cozy mystery. Like, who did it? Like, there are multiple suspects. Anybody could have done this. By the time you get to the end, you can figure out like who did it, and it will keep you guessing like until like I think like 80%. Like you probably will have it figured out by the time you get to 80% of the book. You do keep going back and forth like, well, maybe this person did it, but yeah, you should be able to figure it out. And in this story, Petra's friends were like more involved, like in the mystery. Like, I guess maybe they're setting them up to be more involved in the future because her friends were there and they played a role in this mystery, but it wasn't like a big, huge role, but at least they were there. And I like that her friends got like more time on the page. The one thing that they needed in this story were some recipes. Like, you're having a baking contest. Like, you have to put at least 2 recipes at the end of this story. Like, we need it. Like, you cannot do that to us. Let me see. And the last thing I didn't really enjoy is that there was way too much information about Windsor Castle. Like, I know, like, this is also like a historical fiction as well as a cozy mystery, but there was way too much detail about the castle. Like, it confused me, and I sat there like trying to imagine like the castle and what it looked like, and that just took too much time away from the actual mystery. But overall, I thought this was a good book, so it got 4 stars from me. The next book I'm going to talk about today is a fantasy by Georgia Summers, and the title is The Bookshop Below. And in this book, we meet Cassandra Fairfax, and she is an apprentice at a magical bookshop called Chiron's. And Chiron is also the name of the owner of the bookshop. And so Cass was supposed to take over for him, but then some sort of drama happened between those two, and Chiron throws her out. So after she's thrown out of the bookshop, she becomes a thief, and she also does this thing called readings. So the way the magic works in this story is that people can be readers of certain books. And if they read these books, the ink, I guess, from the pages helps the reader kind of enter the story or be able to manipulate the story, and the story actually becomes true in the real world. Um, so she ends up doing like some of these readings as well as stealing books and stuff. And the other way the magic works is that the bookshops, like in the real world, are attached to bookshops that are below the streets of London. And then those magical bookshops below the real bookshops are attached to this magical river, which is controlled by Lady Fate. Yes, if this is confusing, just know it was confusing in the book as well. So Chiron ends up becoming, someone murders him, and now Cass has to take over at his bookstore because the bookstores always have to have an owner. So other people want to take this bookstore away from Cass, and there are other owners, and there's also the secret society that most of the owners are in. And I guess something is happening where the bookshops below are disappearing, like they're being cut off from the river, and the society and the other owners kind of want to get Chiron's shop because he's one of the last ones with his bookshop below that is still intact. So that is the main gist of this story. Let me start with what I like. So I like that there was, lots of magic with like these readings, and of course, like bookshops, yay, like book lovers, we're on board with books about bookshops. Okay, bookshops and magic. That sounds like a good combination. In this story, it was not a good combination, because now I'm going to get to all of the things that I did not like about this book. So, number one, it was a romantasy, and it was disguised as a fantasy, but of course there was some romance in here, and it just seemed like the romance took away from this urgent quest of like figuring out what is happening with the bookshops below. So that was a big disappointment right there. And then from the summary I just gave you, as you can figure out or see, this was like very complicated world building. Like the magic was not adequately explained, like how everything worked. Um, yeah, like the secret society, filled with owners, and then you get a river, and we don't know why this river is important or how did the magic, like get in the river from the first place. And, like Cassandra can do these powerful readings that other people can't do, and that wasn't explained. So, yeah, there's just like a lot of unanswered questions and things that are just not explained. In like the first half of the book, you're like, okay, yeah, I can deal with this because this is new. Everything will be explained hopefully by the time this is over. And it was not explained. So we also get Cassandra, and she's not very likable, and she does not ask like very obvious questions like about what is happening in the story, and it ends up like influencing like her decisions and how the story um pans out in the end. And like honestly, so we get like a Clark Kent Superman moment, like where you're like, why can these people not figure out like this person is the same person? Like they're standing right in front of you. Nobody can figure this out. So that happens with Cass because Cass is her nickname, and Cass is like the alias that she uses when she's a book thief. And when she goes back to owning the bookshop, she goes by her full name, Cassandra Fairfax. And everyone is talking about this master book thief who used to be around and steal all these books, and nobody's been able to catch her. And it's like, you fools, like, hello, she's like right there. Cassandra. It is not hard to make the leap that these are one and the same person. And everyone's just like, oh no, we don't know who it was. And when they finally figure it out or she tells the truth, everyone's just like, oh my goodness, what? Oh my, I can't believe this. And it's like, duh. So I'm telling you this, that is not a spoiler. That is just like obvious. Like, duh. Like, you should know that. Like, that is not a spoiler. So, let's see. Oh, and we never really figure out like why Cass and Chiron, like why they fell out, like why he kicked her out. It's kind of alluded to. You can kind of guess, like, you know, like she was rebelling and stuff like that, and he had had enough or something, but it really doesn't make sense. They really don't give you like the specific reason. So you're just left to guess. And the whole society angle is not even important to the story at all. That was like a major distraction that panned out to nothing. So overall, I gave this a 2 because it was bad. And yeah, it was just so disappointing because it had all of the elements to be something really, really good. And it just was not. Do not recommend. The last book I'm going to talk about today is a historical fiction written by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray, and it is titled The Personal Librarian. Now, this is the story of J.P. Morgan's personal librarian, Belle DeCosta Green, and she is a Black woman who passed as white so that she could work for JP Morgan and build up his personal library. This is a story about a little known historical figure, and it just paints a portrait of what they think, may have been happening in her life. One of the reasons why we don't know much about what happened with her, besides like some letters that her lover ended up saving, is because Belle burned all of her papers when she was at the end of her life. Like, she burned everything. So there is like some historical documentation of, her and her family. And like I said, those letters that her lover saved. So they were able to piece together like some parts of her story, but a lot of this is, their best guess based on history and what was happening at the time. So, the things that I like, of course, I like that this is a story about a real life person, especially because she was a Black woman, and you may not have heard of her or known about her before. I love that it involves like a librarian and like books and history. There's a lot of information in here about like manuscripts and art, and J.P. Morgan and his library and stuff like that. So that was nice being able to learn about that. And this book that I picked was a large print, which I really appreciated. It made it like a little bit easier to read. And I like that it goes in linear order. So we are not jumping around in time. So I did enjoy that. So the things that I didn't like I mentioned before, lots of this story is conjecture, just because she did like burn up all of her papers and correspondence before she died. So it's like you don't really know what this main character, what her thoughts and feelings were. You can only guess. And this took me a while to read. I don't know, I don't know why, like the story, I don't know, like it didn't pull me in like some of the other historical fiction books that I have read previously. And I don't know what it was about this one. I feel like her family took advantage of her. Like, I felt like, so her mom, and her brother, and I believe 3 other sisters. So yeah, I think it was 5 of them. So they ended up moving to New York, and it was almost like Belle had to take care of the whole family. So that is one reason like why she had to pass as white. And like her mom made the decision for them to pass, like she and all of the children did. And I'm like, well, if everyone is passing, like, why does she have to be the one to take care of everyone? Like, why does she have to use her money? If you guys are all passing, like, it's time for y'all to get off your buttocks and, take advantage of what you're doing. Like, that was the whole reason why you were supposed to be doing this. So why is Belle still taking care of you guys? Like, her brother got an engineering degree and he was married, and it's like, well, why is she taking care of y'all? And then like her sisters, they were teachers and they were married, and it's like, okay, y'all can go and start your lives now. Like, Belle should not still be taking care of all of you guys. Like, it's ridiculous. And like, they weren't even thankful or grateful. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that part of the story at all. And honestly, like the whole passing trope, like, I don't know. I don't think I enjoy reading books about passing. Like, I can understand why people would do it, but I can't understand why people would do it all at the same time. Like, I know, like, it is easy to say what you would not do if you were, if, what am I trying to say? Okay. Like, I can understand why passing would be an attractive thing to do, especially if you could get away with it, like in those days. But then again, like, I also don't understand like how you could do it all at the same time. Um, her dad was like the first Black graduate from Harvard, and her mom's side of the family, they were like well-to-do African Americans. So I just didn't understand like why they felt the need to pass, and like the reasons that they gave here in the story just did not make like sense to me. But I also understand that, you know, I was not in that situation. And back in those times, it was probably like easier to do so. Like, you would open yourself up to way more opportunities and things like that. But I don't know. It just seems like you are giving up like such, like a lot for a small, like, benefit. So I, I don't know, like, you give up your family. Like, some people, like, you can't get married unless you marry, someone maybe who's passing like you. Like, it, because then what happens when you have like children? Like in this story, Belle, she did not want to have like any kids or whatever, because she was always, or like a relationship, because she was scared like of what would happen if she had a kid. And that's another thing that I didn't understand. Like, her sisters were married, so I'm like, well, who did y'all marry? Like, did you marry white guys? And like, what happened if you guys had children and they came out darker and stuff? So that is one of the things that Belle was scared of. So yeah, I didn't understand that about her sisters either. So that was a question that I had as well. But getting back to passing, I don't know, like, part of the reason for Belle, like, she wanted to do like these things, but then like at the end of the story, I'm just like, but you burned all of your papers. Like, so did you never want anybody to know that you were Black? Like, I don't know. Like, to me, at the end of my life, if I had been passing that long, that is definitely something that I would have left for them to find after I was gone. Like, ha ha ha, now, look, y'all thought we couldn't do stuff, and look at this whole time I was Black. Like, I would want people to know that. Um, so I don't know. I am just very conflicted about the whole passing thing. And yeah, every time I read like stories like this, I just get so like frustrated with the characters, because it seems like they pass and only use the benefits for themselves or their families. Like, they don't use these opportunities to kind of like maybe help, you know, their Black community, like the community they left behind. Like, they are not using it to their advantage to help them. So I guess yeah, I don't, yeah, very conflicted about passing. Overall, I gave this story a 3. I felt like it was just okay. Like, I really didn't feel any connection to Belle. Like, a few times I just wanted to shake her. I was just so frustrated with, I guess, the direction that the authors chose to go in. but I know it was probably hard because they did not have much information to go on about her, because again, she burned up all of her personal papers and things. I wish there were discussion questions with this. This feels like this would be like, maybe like, I don't know if that would have made the story any better. Like, I just felt like her character, like, we just didn't get like a good picture. Like I don't feel like she was written with any complexity. Like, I feel like we just got like a surface level of Belle. Like, I wanted more about, like, how did she feel about her dad, and and her mom, and like her siblings, like in their relationship, and then like with her friends. Like, we just got a lot of information thrown at us about her, and we didn't really get to see how she went about her life. Like, we didn't really get inside of her, if you know what I mean. Like, I still feel like I have like a lot of questions about her. So maybe I need like a biography or something, because I know there are probably more stories about her and her family and stuff like that. So it'll probably be another rabbit hole that I go down. But again, like I said, this was just okay for me. So that is the end of this book review video. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and what you thought about them. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you the next time. Bye-bye.